Hello and welcome everyone to our first quarter final of the playoffs of the Division 4. The match is between Serenity Gaming, Aries and Fox. I'm Kaczka and tonight I will be joined by Starchos.
Yeah, thanks. And today is gonna be a wild one. It's gonna be too interesting. Our first final games for the season.
Yeah, the playoffs have now started and the first match we are streaming is the Division 4 quarterfinal between the third seed in Friendship Over Xenophobia, aka Fox, and Serenity Gaming Aries. And I feel like this match, Fox are definitely coming in looking stronger, but I wouldn't really count Aries out, and I think this could be a really interesting best of 3.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. I think you're right that Fox is definitely the favorite, but as you also said, we shouldn't count anyone out because what we have seen from SRG this season is they're spicy. They're ready to take on the fight, and yeah, they're bringing home victories too. So it's gonna be a spicy one this night.
And the one person that I'm kind of looking at is the Warlord Reaper. The jungler for Aries. He's not quite new, but he wasn't there at the beginning of the split either. He's a relatively new addition. Of course, he has had some games with the team. And I really want to see him, how he will utilize the champion he has put on to the extent, because from at least his solo queue account, he likes to play those aggressive junglers like the Jarvan, Elise or Sejuani.
Yeah, who really likes to put the pressure on early and like try to get his laners ahead. Also because like he's really needing to get his lane ahead because laning is where SRG is struggling a bit. But with Warlock on early game junglers, they definitely have a real shot because on the other hand, the other side have a really strong mid laner. He plays a lot of Aries and he's ready to give Nigel a take for the money.
And it could be Ari, probably one of the bans from Aries once we will go over to the pick and ban in a couple of minutes, I would assume, as the teams are just getting ready, getting everything. However, we will have Fox on the blue side and Aries on the red side. What do you think are some of the bans we could be expecting to see in the first phase?
I think like obviously we should be expecting some flex bans because in the current meta we are right now, flex is a huge thing, so we should be looking at Aatrox, Silas of course, but also like some unique bands like Ori as you mentioned, Fresh, but maybe even a Jinx because we have Hunter like Hawkeye on playing a lot of solo queue on that champion and he seems to be doing really well. So pick and bans can be a little what we expect, but also like respect bans.
A question that I might have to you is, do you think we will see Yuumi? Because it doesn't really appear in any of those players' match histories, but it is a pretty strong champion overall.
I think Yuumi is an interesting pick, but I think in the terms of the Division 4, I don't expect they're gonna bring it out because the skill ceiling of the champion is so high, and you really need to have a lot of practice on the champion to be effective on it. So I think we're not gonna see it here, but nothing is ruled out.
Alright, then hopefully the teams will be readying up soon. I can't wait for the pick and ban. Of course, let's just remind ourselves it is a best of 3 quarterfinal, so it isn't much different from your regular season game, apart from the fact that the semi-final spot is on the line. And when those teams have faced each other in week 3, it was Fox getting a fairly convincing 2-0 win, and Aries, I mean, they definitely want to make it at least 3 games, and they definitely do want to win that themselves.
I also think they have a real possibility to actually do it, but everything starts, like you said before, through the jungler. They have to get Warlord an early game jungler so he can impact the lanes, and they have to get comfort picks, and the shot call needs to be on point. If not, they're gonna get rolled over by Fox. But it's gonna be they're gonna have to put up the money first where it stands, but Fox really have showed power so far.
And we are going to jump over into those picks and bans. What I'm interested to see is where Fox will decide to draft around, because they have strong lanes and on paper they are stronger than their counterparts. We talked about Lucidity, the fact that he plays quite a lot of Ari, as well as other control mages. He could definitely give Nigel a hard time. The first ban is going to be Silas, something that Nigel does play pretty extensively in his solo queue, as well as I believe I did see him play it in Division 4.
Yeah, but also one of the flex picks we were talking about, and here goes the Aries. So there's a little flex pick bans, and also, of course, non-ban. But like Aries, really interesting. But there is total respect for Lucidity here, and I think it's a justified ban, and I think it's really good. But it looked like Fox is respecting the flex bans here. They're all coming with the suitors, with the Aatrox. It's looking like a standard draft from the side of Fox.
Yeah, they just removed. I mean, I'm gonna repeat it the third time. The flex picks, they're just getting taken away. Now Jarvan is going to be a ban by Aries. They are removing it from Crazy. I believe he has played it a bit. He does like to play those proactive junglers, and Jarvan is one of the strongest one, being in meta for a few months. Not really unchallenged at the top of the tier list now for the junglers, but is still very much up there. And finally, a comfort ban going against Hawkeye. That's going to be the Jinx removed.
Yeah, and it was like we talked about before, it's really a comfort pick from Hawkeye, and I think it's a big removal, and it's justified because like he really put up numbers on that champion. And here we see a Nautilus pick. It's at least it's a hovered, and I mean it's a flex pick, but it normally goes down to support.
And Dennis B has, at least that's I think how you say that nickname, has played it, I believe, both in Division 4 as well, as it also has appeared periodically through OPG, as well as it being just a pretty well-rounded support in this meta. You get the engage, you have some playmaking possibilities, and it also doesn't really do that bad in the late game if you want to go for the picks, and that is one of the best supports you can lock yourselves, and it's a pretty safe first pick as well, so that is what folks go with. But now a Morgana being the response from Aries.
It's really interesting that they're gonna pick Morgana, because for a lot of like high tier teams, Morgana is not considered counter pick to Nautilus, because like his Q is just gonna remove the spell shield and the ult will still go through. But Severe, definitely a strong lane down here. They have a lane that can push in, have a lot of pressure in the early game.
And also that is a lane that will stay so safe against any sort of CC you want to throw out. Just the Nautilus, you will not be able to pick Hawkeye out. If Fox want to go for the pick identity, they will definitely lock in some more CC, and Krakus looks to be a pretty good jungler to do just that. Crazy locked it in for himself, and I mean, hey, it is looking like Fox are saying, right, we want to get some CC in our team and play through the early game and find some ganks, find some skirmishes.
But it's also really smart with the Gragas pick, because like the thing about people not recognizing is that you need to remove the Morgana shield, or for that you need AP. So it's really smart with the AP jungler that can come in, body slam, remove the shield, and then ulti her back. And again, Sai locked in, safe lane, it's hard to punish her, but the range is a problem, and she's gonna get pushed in by Severe early game.
Alright, so bot lane we will be probably seeing pushing, as you have said, from Aries against Fox, and this is where we will see if Crazy can make some ganks happen. But right now we're just focusing on the rest of the draft, and Irelia is actually locked in. Now I do have to check if... Alright, so Non is playing it, Nigel is also playing it, at least as their OPGGs do show. So, you know, a flex pick maybe if you are Aries in that third slot right now.
But we'll definitely, like, I will say it's a flex pick, but it probably could be going mid here, because we see that banning Cassiopeia is a good sign. They're gonna wanna have mobility, because Cassiopeia, as everybody knows, stopped jumping from people. So Irelia could be going mid here. It's really a good pick. Also because right now it's really popularized to play double bruiser top mid with either a spell seal or like a speed from Severe here.
Alright, we'll see what the last ban from Aries coming out will be. Do they want to get another mid laner? They instead choose to get rid of the Urgot, something that if Fox would have wanted to get their hands on could be a very effective top lane bully. I do expect it now to be as well maybe a jungle ban, another one from Fox, because Aries still yet to lock in that role, and if you can restrict that pool, then you will make sure that Crazy can have as much freedom in the jungle as he wants.
Yeah, we'll probably see, Rexstar is gonna get banned here. It's like, they keep saying, we don't want this early game. We know that the Warlord Reaper is the, like, hard carry on this team right now, and he doesn't want to get, they don't want him to get going at all. But the lock-in Severe, so, so now, the half the early game they want, now it's all about the execution.
And I'm just thinking, what are the solo lane choices now? for Fox. Technically, they could still put in Nautilus top lane, though I do agree with you, most likely support. It is a Xerath. That already in itself is a pretty damn good target for any ganks, and most likely Cleanse has to surely come out from Lucidity, otherwise Warlord Reaper will just camp him in the mid lane, and Poppy from the front line would be a pretty good pick if Fox want to go for some sort of team fighting 5v5s later on in the game.
But it's really ballsy to pick Seraph here because they have so much CC on the side of Aries. Like, they could be taking the Irelia mid with the Elise. He's not gonna have fun in that lane at all. Of course he can poke, he can bully, but he's gonna be a real target. But on the other hand, they picked Poppy. It's a safe lane, so they could be sending Gragas mid for the counter ganks.
Alright, and Jax is the last pick to finish off the draft phase. So let's take a look at these compositions holistically. We talked about Warlord Reaper, how he needs to step up. He's playing in Elise. Where are we expecting him to make his moves in the early game? Which lanes is he looking to gank?
He's definitely looking to gank top to get the Jax ahead, because the win condition here is a classic 1-3-1 com from the side of Aries. It's really important to get Jax ahead, and the early game Jax is not that strong. He can get bullied by Poppy quite a bit actually, a surprise for many, but it's actually a good matchup for Poppy in the early game. But with Elise and the double stun, Poppy's gonna have a hard time top, because the dive top is really important, a possibility. So yeah, but also Elise can, like I said earlier, go to mid lane, try to get the cleanse, and then counter gank. Bot lane, I don't think there'll be much action, because it's just gonna be Severe Morgana pushing in. This is all about Gragas being able to counter gank this Elise early game.
Alright, so counter ganking vision also becomes very important in that sense. You will need to be able to track the enemy junglers and see the ganks coming in. So where are we really looking in terms of the priority in lane? Because it's always a deciding factor in this early game to where you can put down wards. So what lanes will be expecting to be able to roam down first and place that vision down?
I will definitely see that we should see some vertical jungle through top side. So I will probably see that the blue side would get a lot of vision in the bot side around Drake, maybe even push into enemy jungle, and red side in the top side around Rift Held and all that kind of shit. So because Elise early game will have priority over Gragas, but again, Seraph can bully Irelia if Elise is not helping her out early game.
Alright, and this is where my eyes are on Nigel, because this guy, for as long as I have seen him, he has always been kind of a coin flippy player, in the sense that he will step up when you least expect him to, and he will play like someone who really even shouldn't be in the same elo as him, but sometimes he doesn't also do a lot, and it is the quarterfinal, it's the playoffs. You don't really get a second shot after this best of 3, so I really want to see the better Nigel come through on this Irelia in the mid lane, because if you get some kills, if you get that Irelia going, then Aries will be probably looking at a very convincing game 1 win.
Yeah, the draft is definitely really strong here in the first game, but we shouldn't be counting out, because if Seraph get going with the frontline he has, it's not gonna be fun, because the wave clear, they have Severe, but again in a 1-3-1 com, it's not gonna be all that much if you have a Seraph and Sire and an Orsus that wanna dive you. It's definitely gonna happen. So what we're gonna see is Elise need to create a lead through mid, through top, and if that can happen, it's gonna be rough playing against Seraph in the mid lane.
Right, but you said that if it doesn't happen, then we will see Fox just trying to dive the side of Aries. And the 1-3-1 is definitely what they are going for. I'm not going to try and dispute or argue against that. They've got the Jax, they've got the Irelia. However, what really happens if you are Aries and you move for behind? Like, Fox, will it be pretty much game 1 for them if they get themselves an early lead and try to play through the team fights? Or is there anything that Aries would be even able to do at that point?
I mean, they'll always have, they definitely have the late game here on Aries. Like, it's just about getting there. Getting Jax to free items, getting Irelia for free items, Severe as well. But the thing is, it's so hard with so much diving power, because early game, they're not gonna be tanky Jax and Irelia, so you can definitely dive with a Poppy, Gragas, and you need to remember, before you do any diving, you have to poke for Seraph, and it's gonna stick to you. You don't have any sustain, you don't have any way of regaining that health unless you're lucky with the dragons.
Alright, we should be loading in the game soon. I believe that our producer has informed us that the stream will be getting late into the game, but that doesn't stop us from taking a quick look at the runes. And if there's anything interesting to spot out, I think the Guardian on Morgana is obviously a viable choice, something that you can see. That's really interesting because it will provide a lot of safety to whoever target you decide to Black Shield.
Yeah, the thing though is Morgana needs to be able to roam here to impact other lanes, but if she ever leave the lane, Severe is just gonna get hooked because you have one spell shield when you get hit by the ulti, so it comes down to who of the supports is gonna get successful roam off, because it's all about the vision here, because both can do a lot of pick potential, they have a lot of speed on one side and a lot of CC on the other. So it's all about the support and junglers working together of getting mid lane ahead. Mid lane is key to this game.
Alright, and if you look at those duos, they have so much CC between them. You've got Gragas and Nautilus on one side, and if you have the Zerath set up as well, if you get the long range slow or even stun into all that CC, they will most likely die. But a similar story on the other side with the Binding and the Cocoon. The Morgana Elise, also a pretty powerful goon squad. So that is really interesting to be following. Do you have any idea if maybe any of those duels will have it easier in terms of finding the mid lane lead, or are we looking at a roughly even game?
I would say it's definitely gonna be on red side here to make the play, because they're gonna have to push in bot lane with Severe and Morgana. They're always gonna be able to push in, so Morgana should be able to get out of lane first, and if with a good pink warding around mid, they should be able to get on the Seraph. You do have cleanse, but it only works once, so if you're willing to set Seraph behind, it should be possible. But it's all coming down to the communication between bot lane and the jungler here, because the pushing power bot side is definitely to SRG's advantage. But we need to also remember, Poppy do have a winning matchup early game on top lane.
Yeah, that is something that Fox can use to create some pressure. The stream will be slowly getting into the game. If anything happens, we will inform you. So far, Aries just stacking as 5 on a brush. But it doesn't seem like Fox want to step forward and do anything. Although Shadow, the AD carry, is trying to go in. Oh, actually, you cannot see this, but Parts are going for the flash binding, and Aries do secure the first blood off stream. Once we load in, you will guys see that, but it does go over to Hawkeye.
Yeah, it's really important actually, because now he can go back, get a longsword or just boots and a potion, and he can start pushing even more pressure. But it looks like he's gonna save the money for that BF sword, or maybe he going essence reel, we can't say yet. But he's definitely got a good start. XP lead, really important bot lane. We all know the level 2 power spike. It's coming in 1 minion sooner here.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how they can play around that. Both junglers are starting around the bot lane. Apparently we are already in the Summoner's Rift, and alright, so you guys will be just seeing the first blood, and then we're going to fast forward to the real time, is what the producer decided to go for. So far early game, not too much action, but it's not like we are expecting anything just yet.
But we do see up here top that Jacks are getting bullied early. Poppy can use the shield to get some free Qs in. But what I'm really looking forward to is see if Severe gonna use this lead to get some pushing power down bot, so Morgana can be set up. Right now it looked like they lost the pushing bot lane, and that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, Shadow probably just using the double daggers, or maybe Hawkeye and One Trick just deciding not to move up too much, whatever the reason is. They are sitting under the tower, slightly behind in CS, most likely due to the waves positioning. And now it all becomes about the junglers. We talked about them. They need to be the ones to make the plays. Crazy is sticking around the bot side river. We'll be going for that Skylo, whereas Warlord Reaper went through into that top side. None is getting poked in the top lane pretty heavily. Now Spray actually going in for the Hammer Shock, doesn't connect it, and thus no kill will be found. Sniper in the mid lane is getting poked. Okay, Warlord Reaper coming in for the counter gank. No summoners forced.
Yeah, we're gonna see an early gank here mid. Elise just there for the safety. But it's a really good gank because they're gonna choke out Aurelia's potion, and that removes a lot of her potential for a kill mid lane. Because every time she jumps to to a minion, she's gonna take some poke, so she needs that potion to stay healthy. But what we also see is Jax kicking poke out top. And it's interesting because now Elise cannot gank top lane.
And Warlord Reaper is looking for mid lane. At least trying for the cleanse or the flash from Lucidity would be good. The cocoon goes wide and Lucidity just walks under his tower. Now Crazy looking for the return gank. He gets the body slam onto Warlord Reaper. The Elise loses half of her HP. And once again, junglers just wave each other hello in the mid lane and go separate ways.
And exactly like we talked about before the game, mid lane is gonna be where the game is decided, because this is gonna matter if Irelia is gonna be stuck on the tower and cannot be in the side lane doing what she wants, like do the 1-3-1. But because if she's behind, she cannot do that. So both junglers are putting a lot of effort to get the mid lane ahead here, and it's all about who getting that first kill.
Yeah. So far, we only have the first auto. That is a good flawless Juan from Nigel. He goes in for the ignite, the Blazer as well. Lucidity uses the cleanse. Nigel tries to go for the kill, but he doesn't get it. And Lucidity getting the solo outplay in the mid lane.
That's a really greedy play from Irelia. And it's gonna cost him a lot because he used his ignite here. So the kill pressure in the next 2 minutes is gonna be really low. But Elise could punish that both sums is down. But I think mid lane, Irelia should just have been happy with the 1 sums used.
And now that just gives over the kill to Lucidity. He picks up his blasting wand with just 17 CS. He's going to be one pretty happy Zerath. Still at least no extra mana sustain, but the extra IP will hurt. And with that, the whole first blood advantage that Hawkeye was able to get, it is kind of mitigated.
Yeah, but also that in bot lane it's kinda weird that Severe is not trying to put pressure down here. Right now they're letting Nautilus dictate the lane. It can be really risky because, like we talked about, it's all about the mid lane. And right now, if Nautilus would, he could roam mid and really punish this Aurelia. Because now they're head mid and they're starting to get a lead in the bot lane. It can be dangerous.
However, I feel like what we also need to look at when talking about roams mid is division in the both side river. Not a lot from both teams, however Aries do have the monopoly with one control ward and one normal ward sitting in that pixel brush. So we will have to first see Fox invest into vision around there before making any roams happen, as Null and Spray getting pretty aggressive in their trades in top lane.
Yeah, in the top lane, Poppy starting to pull ahead is nothing weird about that. It's a hard matchup early game, but what is surprising is that none of the team are trying to set up a vision line. It's completely blind right now in the top side, and at least have a free range of what you want to do. So it's all about to at least to start making some ganks happen. If not, the team is just gonna start falling behind.
And Crazy is looking for a gank in the mid lane. Nigel has got the flash. Will probably have to use it. Oh, he goes into the body slam. He's got level 6. He throws on the Vanguard's edge, but Crazy picks up the kill, and that is the second one over to Fox.
Yeah, this mid lane is starting to like snowball out of hand from the misplay earlier. Of course, Aurelia is ahead in terms of CSing, but he has been going Nigaton close, so he has no damage. So right now, he's just picking in the mid lane here. We need Elise to start show up and do the counter ganks here.
And we are going to go over the polls. This time it is IRL props. That's a new one. Usually it is Discord lag, but that does give us some time to just talk about what has happened, what is the state of the game. So far, Fox, 500 gold ahead. They've got a kill onto Crazy. They could kill and assist onto Lucidity. And this is one of the... And Lucidity is the guy that we talked about for Fox to be played around. And right now, that's exactly what is happening.
Yeah, it's exactly what's happening. And it's like really interesting that Aries is not realizing this and putting more pressure on helping this Aurelia, because he is ahead in CS. He could be doing well. But right now, Fox is realizing we need to help our Seraph, because Seraph is our win condition for this. We need his poke, we need him strong, and they're doing exactly that, and they're doing it really well. And they're using no summoners for this. It's really important. Gragas didn't need to use any flash or anything, so these ganks is just gonna keep coming.
And that was even without that explosive cast. The level 6 still yet to be hit. Like Crazy, imagine what this guy will do when you've got that displacement. And as I say, level 6 is hit. So those ganks just become more and more potent. And the vision line is also starting to be established in the bot side river by Fox.
Yeah, it's really important to stop the bleeding mid. We talk about a lot about mid lane, but it's also about the vision. You need, when you're starting to fall behind here, you need even more vision to get back into the game. And it's really a communication about the support, the mid, and the jungler to set up that vision line so Irelia can start playing aggressive again and get a lead back in this mid lane. But he really needs Elise, and Elise needs to start coming right now.
Alright, well, it won't be Elise, it will be Crazy pinging to go in the mid lane. He was seen on a control ward. That one ward that Aries have placed, I'm not even sure who, but it is there for a few minutes, still being very useful to them, just being able to scout out potential ganks before they happen. And it is going to be Ocean Drake as the first one. One Trick Part Star already roaming through his first recall. He needs to be careful though. If he steps too close to that brush, there was a potential engage happening in the ball lane, but good spell shield to deny the dredge line.
Yeah, bot lane is just gonna be that all the time, but what we really need to be looking for, that Drake is really important if you're red side here. Because that Drake can mean a lot for the poke you're gonna receive for the Seraph, so just should be considering getting this. But Jax is getting bullet here top, and it's really hard matchup.
Oh, flash forward, Keeper is ready into the hammer shock, none on a slither of HP. He is going to get out. Now Warlord Reaper making his way up to the top lane. Stray doesn't have the flash, he doesn't have the ultimate. He does have the heroic charge, so Flash Cocoon does not connect. The smite ward is slow. That was such a good W from the Poppy, and Warlord Reaper, he's gonna take too many tower shots. Spray ends up turning it around and getting the kill.
Yeah, this was just a poorly executed gank here. It should be an easy gank, but we kinda saw what happened. It all went wrong. And the problem with this is Poppy just gonna be an even bigger bullet now. He's gonna be 2 tank.
And look at Nigel in the middle lane. He doesn't have the flash. He tries to get out. Good dodge away from the cask. Brings him closer to the tower. But now right off the Arcane Lucidity. It just gets his second on the board. And Fox are snowballing their leads.
Yeah. What's happening right now is the Elise didn't have the early game we were talking about that need to happen for Aries to really pull ahead here.
And none is going to get dove by Spray.
Yeah.
Now, Warlord Reaper is trying to go in for that kill, and this time he will be able to reclaim his double buffs and at least get some gold over to Aries, but this game is starting to look pretty bleak.
Yeah. It's really important though from blue side, they need to start focus on getting this Drake, because the Drake is really what could be the saving grace for red side here, so they can retain the poke they're definitely gonna receive for the Seraph. So I think the Drake is gonna be the main focus here for both sides.
However, so far both the junglers sitting in the top side. Ironically, the Herald is also up if any of the teams decide to prioritize the towers, but I do agree with your point on the Ocean Dragon. It is also very useful for split push if you come later on, because you can just stay in your lane for so much longer. So there are multiple uses of that objective. And yeah, definitely the next focal point.
But the thing about the vision line right now is we can see the priority. We have vision around mid lane for the Irelia. Really well set up here, so he can always play to the bot side. And bot lane is putting both the pink wards down in the riverside, so they have full control of bot lane and can keep pushing. But what we yet to see is the first roam for bot lane for either support.
It looks like Nigel will be visiting bot lane. You know, they say roam to the bot lane before, roam to the mid lane before mid lane roams down to you. Dennis is going to take the dredge line to the tower. Nigel going in deep. He's going to pick up the kill. However, the tower shots are cleaving his HP and he's going to drop. In the end, that is a 1-for-1 trade. As none drops in the top lane.
Yeah, but at least we see them trying to come back to the game. They're really trying to get a lead, anything they're gonna take. So I think it was a good play. It was a little over-aggressive. But it was good to see they're not out yet.
Yeah, they get that one kill and ends up being a trade, but at least Nigel finally able to receive some more of that gold. Hopefully we'll be able to hit that spikes faster on Irelia, because if you're 1-for-1, the problem you could be running into is not having enough gold for the necessary items, like probably the Triforce maybe going for the Wit's End against the Seraph.
Yeah, he's definitely going for the Winston here, so he can withstand the poke here in the early game. But it's also really important to see that Jax is not that far off in CS. He's behind in kills and assists. But as soon as Jax gets the Trinity Force, it gets a lot easier and he can start pushing out.
However, what I am afraid of is how far Spray can take that lead. We just saw him die none, I believe, twice, or he at least none died under the tower twice. Already Iceborne Gauntlet and the Bami Cinder. This Poppy is going to be very powerful. And also the extra armor means that really Elise is the only target that will be able to burst you down quickly.
Yeah, but we still need to remember Jax actually do quite a bit of magic damage, so it can't be risky for Poppy to do so much into armor. He probably gonna need some magic resist at some point to withstand Jax long enough.
I know Nigel, he is going to get stunned with that shocking or good flash to make sure the casket gets him away from the danger rather than into it. And it is going to be just a summoner, but Aries don't have to give up much more as now none is going to get engaged upon. The counter-strike is initiated and Spray gets stunned up. Warlord Reaper looking for a gank but won't find it. Meanwhile in the ball lane just some back and forth. The binding onto Dennis, but not a whole lot more happening.
I would really wish to see here in the next couple of minutes that team starting to focus more on the objective. They're so far ahead right now on blue side, they should be able to take the Drake quite easily. So they can try to expand the lead.
Alright, now Nigel going in this mid lane. Lucidity is dropping no kill. Use the cleanse, but Nigel, well played. He's gonna pick up the solo kill shutdown.
It's so well played by this Aurelia, and it's
No.
definitely what.
Can't he sidestep it? He gets away from the Keeper's verdict. The action just doesn't cease. I don't think you're gonna get to talk that much. Now bot lane. The Black Shield is going to deny the depth charge and trades all over the map.
Yeah, but to get back to the point that it's really important Aurelia is starting to get some foot back in this lane. Because right now, that's the win condition for the team, and they really need Aurelia to step up.
The Warlock Reaper does miss the cocoon, but Spray is very low. There is the repel. Spray is going to flash out, but the chilling smite is going to secure the kill. It is traded though for that ocean that we talked about so much.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a Rift Hell attempt here, and they should be able to take it because like top lane is dead, and there's just pushed out the bot lane here, so I need to reclaim bot lane. Yeah.
And right now, talking about this bot lane, it has been very quiet. That one kill over to Hawkeye means that the CS deficit which he finds himself at right now doesn't mean a whole lot. Both AD carries sitting on that Essence Weaver and Shadow, he's got the double dagger, whereas Hawkeye, he's got still his Doran's blade. So the power levels are close enough, and it is going to be about the rest of the map, making moves to try and make plays happen.
Yeah, but we really need to start supports to get involved in the game. Right now, the 2v2 is just going on. The fighter in the middle lane?
Yeah, in the mid lane, Nigel, he's going to dash away from the Arcanopulse. His HP is still going to go down in Lucidity. With the Eye of Distraction, picks up the kill. Warlord Reaper, he jumps in with that Venomous Bite, but I think he might be wanting to get under his tower. Another Arcanopulse chunks him low, and now right of the Arcane. First shot misses, second shot is going to get sighted, as well as the third one. And now here comes Stone onto Lucidity with the Empower, secures the kill. And this is Aries striking back.
Yeah, and it's a really good roam from Jax here, and it's also really important because every power they can put into this Jax is gonna benefit them so much. Because again, the win condition is the split push, and they need Jax to being able to hold his own in the side lane.
The first tower was picked up in the top lane, I believe, by Spray. However, Aries, they still break that mid lane tier 1, and the Herald will get a charge onto the second turret in that lane, chunking it down to half HP. And now Non, he's jumping in. They want to get crazy. They force the flash from the Gragas. Non just taking a few tower shots in return. That is a good play. Aries could be even taking the tower. The Herald still alive. Warlord Reaper forced to jump away, and I believe the turret will survive in the end.
Yeah, but we saw the top tower go down.
Spray, he's just spraying with a good flank though. He's getting the kill.
Yeah, and it's so important for Fox that Poppy keep getting these kills, because every kill they get on Poppy, the win condition just keep rising, because they need Poppy to be able to dive, because they're gonna need her to set up the diving, because right now what we see is Gragas went full AP, so he's not gonna be the one tanking up the turrets, and they need to be able to dive the turrets so they can get this lead before they scale too much on the red side.
And this lead is currently being found by Fox. They are 4,000 ahead, secured all 3 outer turrets, both in the top mid lane and the bot lane. And I just want to quickly look at where that gold lead is sitting. A lot of it is in the top lane, over to Spray, but there's also some in the jungle and AD carry, and whereas AD carry difference isn't really that big right now. Zaya's mid game is very strong. Once you manage to hit those two items, I'm not quite sure how it compares to the Sivir, but you will be able to do a lot of work if you are Shadow.
Yeah, what we're waiting for in the AD carry positioning is they're both getting the free item power spike. They're both similar champions that really want the Essence Reaver, the one attack speed item, and an IE before they're really starting to hurt. So what we're looking at right now is Red Side really want to put up Vision. They all went back, get a lot of pink wards, so they're gonna ward around this Baron, so they're not gonna use it here in 2 minutes time.
I just want to point it out. You've got a void staff on crazy. This guy is going for a high damage build for that Gragas.
Yeah, and it's interesting he's actually going voice staff this early because there's not a lot of magic resist being found on the red side here for SRG. But at least he has it pen when he needs it. So he gonna hurt a lot right now, but the only danger is he dead before he gonna use it?
That is a very fair question. A binding connects onto spray. He is going to be very much fine. He still is going into the armor stacking on the Poppy. And now, what is the lane assignment? For Aries it is pretty obvious, you are going for that 1-3-1, but for Fox it is still kind of blurred. They are trying to group around objectives and look for pegs for Aries, but Aries, they're just fine farming the waves and pushing them in.
Right now, the thing is, they're gonna send Poppy to deal with the Jax, which he should be doing. Right now, he is going top, but to deal with the Aurelia, but he should be bot side here with the TP, because the only objective right now is the Drake coming up in a second, so he should be down there, ready for the team fight, so he has the TP for Baron later. He doesn't need to use it here, but the thing is, they don't have a real answer, though, to the split push.
Second, Ocean Drake is on the cards. The teleport is going to be committed from Spray, and Fox are looking to join in 5 another strong. The Dragon already is secured, and Warlord Reaper has to get the hell out of there. Taking right crouch into the wall. The Black Shield is going to go, as well as the stopwatch. This Elise is trying to buy some time, but Lucidity just smites him with all his abilities. And this is the Dragon and the Pig over to Fox.
Yeah, it's a really good fight, and it's good they keep getting these drags, so stacking up for the Elder Drake, because they may need it earlier. But what I didn't like about it is that they did send Poppy down here for the 1 kill with the TP, and it could be delaying the Baron, and right now, Baron is a real thing. They have such a strong tank, they can tank the Baron forever, and they do need the Baron.
Crazy over the wall onto Wanch. What is the damage? Crazy just gets the kill. Depth charge onto Nigel is going to find the knockout. Nigel still trying to dodge away, but the ignite from Dennis is going to get him. No one has to flash it out, and Fox, they just get 2 more kills. They're looking for the mid lane tier 2. They will be now trying to lay siege to the base.
Yeah, now should just be backing off here.
Hawkeye is just blown up. Great dredge line from Dennis. Shadow getting the kill credit, and inhibitor turret itself going to fall. Shortly followed by the inhibitor, and this is Fox looking to slowly close this game 1 out.
Yeah, what you're gonna see now is they're gonna take this inhib after a critical good pick. Then they should back off, use all the gold they have, and then they need to get ping wards and set up for the dragon. They should be looking to close out the game in the next 5 to 7 minutes. It's really important. They're closing out the game while they have a big lead. But dragon is the objective they're gonna be looking for here. Baron, sorry.
Alright, however, do Aries scale nicely against the side of Fox? Because we talked about the fact that Fox are going to have quite good team fights. So is the viable option for Aries to just try and scale, or are they already thinking about game 2?
I think it's both, because they do have the scaling, but it's so hard to play split push when the enemy team can just force fights on you left and right. And right now, I think they should probably think about what they're gonna do about this, because Crazy is looking to be on point. He has been really well playing this game, and it doesn't look like he's gonna stop anytime soon.
2-0 and 2-0 and 6, 8 out of 13 kills he has participated in, and those ganks in the mid lane, you said it, they were on point. And yeah, you've got also the problem of trying to even secure a smite. If you are Aries, it's just not going to happen. Now one trick Barnstar is blown up in the jungle with all the CC that Fox could ever wish for. And it's just a matter of time before Baron shows up as Nigel. He's trying to defend top lane, instead just gets deleted by Spray, who heroic charges him into that wall. Warlord Reaper taken down by Shadow. Another 3 kills over to Fox.
Yeah, that should just be pushing top in here, get another inhibitor, and then fall back, get the dragon, and close out the game. This game looking over for the side
Oh,
of the
Lucidity
Fox.
flash stun into the Arcano Pulse on a killing spree, finishing Hawkeye with style. And he said it, we might be looking at the end of this game, one non and one trick parser, and they will need to pull off one hell of a play to try and save this game.
Yeah, there's not really much hope for a 1-3-1 com at this point. It's definitely in the hands of Fox to make a huge mistake to throw this game, and more than once. Right now, they're looking to do the Baron. Maybe they're gonna reset first, but what we're gonna see is definitely a Baron here, and then they're closing out the game.
2 inhibs are down, Aries will be nearly permanently stuck inside their base, and even if somehow Warlord Reaper makes it to the pit, he's at a 1 level disadvantage, and there is so much crowd control to keep him out of the smite range. And I don't think Baron Steel is a realistic option. If it does happen, then kudos to Warlord Reaper, it's just that it's most likely not.
But with the vision blue side have set up here, that Fox have set up already, it's gonna be an impossible task. They should be able to have Nautilus on the other side to delay him enough. They have the cask on the Gragas to keep him away. This should be a safe dragon. And then they can go down to the bot lane if they want and close out the game in, style.
Right, Aries, they managed to push out the waves temporarily, and so we'll be looking for a response in the pit. Blackshell already down as Dennis threw out the dredge line. Spray is sitting over the pit, still with that Keeper's Verdict intact. The Baron is going to drop low. Warlord Reaper behind the pit. He's got the vision. Keeper's Verdict still available. Spray will need to get that in. There is no flash or no blast cone. You have to use the repel if you are Warlord Reaper, and if you are Aries, and if you want to secure that Baron. Baron down to 2000. Repel is going to go in. Warlord Reaper jumps in the pit. He's not going to get the Baron. Crazy smites that one away. And already the first kill of the fight going over to Fox. No Nance now stuck between 4 members is also going to drop as Lucidity is on a rampage. She opens up the right of the arcane. Hawkeye dropping low on HP, but he will be able to survive. Fox get the Baron. They get 2 kills, and now they will be marching down the base.
Yeah, they have a huge mini wave in the top and in the top lane that could look to end the game right here. It should be possible. So what we're gonna look for is probably a game 2 right here.
Yeah, Aries, they are trying to fight back, but they just do not have enough. 10,000 gold in the deficit. Fox are barreling down their base. They're going it onto Hawkeye. Lucidity sounds stable. That's a nice banger. So Nigel trying to go in with the Blade Surge. He's dashing in and out, but he just doesn't do any damn damage. The Nexus is exposed. Fox are getting just more kills to pay their KDAs, and they are going to take the game 1 at 25 minutes in.
Yeah, it was a really interesting game, and Fox played it really well right here.
Yeah, Fox, they just had the early game with the ganks in the middle and Lucidity picking up the kills. They play through it so well. Spray also on that Poppy in the top lane, making sure he's ahead, and at the end of the day, there just wasn't enough that Aries could have done to stop this game from slipping from their hands. And now the question is, what could we see Aries try and do in this game too?
I think the draft was okay. I think what they should be looking for is, can they really deal with this Seraph? The Seraph was really well. Crazy did a lot of good ganking, but the real problem here was Seraph. Irelia didn't really get snowballing in the mid lane, and they should considering if Seraph's just too big to deal with at this point.
Alright, well, that is good to hear. Now Aries, they are on a match point. Those quarterfinals are best of 3, but we will go over to the short break, so join us then to see if Fox will win the next game and go over to the semi-finals, or will it be Aries taking us to game 3. We will see you soon. Hello and welcome back everyone. We are already here, the teams should be getting ready, and now Aries, they will be looking to strike back in the second game. It is do or die for them in this Division 4 playoffs journey. They need to win the next two games if they want to move on, and Fox, they will be looking to stop them.
Yeah, and what you should be looking right now for Aries is to shut down this insanely well playing Crazy right now. He was on point in game 1. So right now, it's all about closing down for the early game of Fox, because it took it way too far.
And I think also you are looking crazy, of course, but in tandem with Lucidity for that mid lane jungle duo. They both stepped up. Of course, you know, what is a jungle without a lane to play through? And these two guys, they seriously need to be stopped. The thing is, you already banned the Aries. The Jarvan, I believe, was also banned by Aries. So you can't really ban out both the Gragas and the Xerath. One of them will more likely than not come through. And so you will be probably thinking about trying to find some counter picks rather than just banning the champions straight up.
Yeah, I don't think banning the champions out is a real possibility. I think the bans will kind of look like the same. And I also think the draft was okay for both teams. It's more about how you play the draft here. We really need to see Warlord Reaper to get involved and play to his team's win condition more than he did this game. And bot lane of SRG really need to step up and push their lead when they have it.
Yeah, because they had that first blood and yeah, they didn't really do that much. They weren't really behind, they didn't fall behind in items, but a 2-item Savior against a 3-item Xerath, or a 3-item Gragas probably I should say, it's not going to do a whole lot. And I just want to see Aries make those adaptations in gameplay. I said, I think the draft is fine. They could even run the same draft, and if they play it differently, then that could be a much different story. I just need to see, I think, also Warlord Reaper. I usually don't like to put so much blame and pressure onto the players, but he did play the Elise, and he did miss a lot of cocoons on his ganks. If those landed, if those ganks connected, and if he got even more kills, then that could also sway the tides of that game 1 so much.
Yeah, he definitely didn't perform as we expected him to, but it's also like, bot lane, I want to come back to this bot lane that didn't really push their lead at all. They should be the one pushing in here, so Elise could play around topside. I think what they should be doing for the draft here is, like, again, try to get an early game jungler for Warlord, but I also think they need to play more standard, more team fight focused, with an Orianna or with a control mace in general, and try to play standard and into Fox's game plan a little, so they have the answer if they do fall behind again.
Right, so eyes on that bot lane. And yeah, I mean, we are probably going to visit that ball in quite a while, because it was a curious occurrence that we just saw the Savior Morgana farm the lane, not trying to shove in Shadow and Dennis. I think it might have been just the pressure of playing against Nautilus, but we saw pretty much every single dredge line be either spell shielded or black shielded. It is so hard for the Nautilus to play, and he just got the free lane, and that is what Fox did. Now though, we are jumping over to the picks and bans for the second match. This time Aries on the blue side and Fox are on the red side, and we'll see what are the first bans they will be firing with.
Yeah, I do. Well, yeah, exactly. They're gonna ban the Aries once more, and I still think red side here on Fox gonna put a lot of effort into banning a Warlord Reaper out, and of course still the flex picks.
Yeah, Silas banned. Fox, their second ban was an Aatrox. I believe Aries, they banned Jarvan here last game, or it might have been the third ban. Not exactly sure how that went. We'll see if they wanna, you know, maybe take away that Gragas or the Xerath. I think banning one of them could work. Instead, they removed the Morgana.
It looked like they do themselves want to play this Nautilus, but I feel like Morgana is the right counter pick for it. So right now, Fox should be considering, are we banning this Nautilus, because it looks so strong in game 1.
And now that there is no Morgana, if Aries get it, then yeah, we could be seeing them solve all the bowling problems they had encountered so far. Aatrox still stays the ban. Fox do not change anything there. And now Aries, they've got their third ban. Will it be the jungler? Will it be a mid lane? Or even a Tristana? Right, they are leaving all the junglers still open. So we could be seeing a Gragas being run back by Crazy this game.
Yeah, but it's also really important to notice that Nautilus is still not banned. And I think if they do get their hands on the Nautilus, we're gonna see a whole other game in the bot side where they do have the pressure. But Gragas could be picked up again, but a lot of jungle is open right now.
Also, Jinx is open for Hawkeye. If we remember that in game 1 it was banned away, it's something he likes to play a lot. Nautilus for first pick, of course, but I'm talking about later, maybe even if it makes it through the second phase, it could be picked up. And yeah, Aries, they go just with the strong champion in Nautilus. We'll see what Fox respond with. Probably Gragas. I mean, if you ask me, that makes sense.
Yeah, Gragas do make sense, but I need to make able to like pick a safe bot lane right now. Fresh is a good pick, you can flay him out when he's trying to engage. Another pick is Braum, it's overlooked, but also a really good pick into Nautilus here, but it is a Fresh.
Thresh and actually Jarvan is also still left on the board, and Crazy just goes for that champion instead. So a lot of playmaking potential locked in for both the teams so far, but Fox, I am expecting Crazy to be even more aggressive on the map, because arguably Jarvan ganks, especially post level 6, are even more potent.
Yeah, Jarvan is a really strong early game, and the do lock into Jinx is interesting because Jinx have no way of getting away from this Jarvan. So now they should be really afraid for the Orianna mid here from the side of Fox.
Yeah, and Sejuani instead is going to be the response for in the jungle. Alright, so we've got the Jinx for Hawkeye, we've got 2 tanks in the front line. Aries, they definitely want to play through into that scaling in the late game, but are they going to get to scale? You mentioned the Orianna. Lucidity likes to play the mages. They are not going to look in the mid lane yet. Instead, they go for the Vayne. They try to respond with some sort of a late game potency as well and try to shred those stacks. So this is shaping up to be a very interesting draft. Both solo laners still up for grabs, arguably. There are some picks, looking at the Jarvan, that could be flexed in those solo lanes, but we're probably still expecting them to be picked.
Yeah, but again, when you look at the Vayne pick, it's a kind of risk, but they're probably thinking they did well last game, so they could try to do this. But Jinx, again, should have points in the bot lane. So, and what we're seeing here is they're gonna ban the Jax out.
Yeah, Non is not going to get to play that champion, which is interesting since he didn't really do a whole lot in the game 1. It was arguably because Spray was playing really well on the Poppy and Xerath removed from Lucidity. So Lucidity will be forced quite down that champion pool. I think the Orianna that you said, I am really looking forward to seeing that, but yeah, we'll have to see.
I probably think that Aries right here should be banning the Orianna. It's just too strong at this point in the draft. But what we also see is like they do exactly the opposite of last game. They're going for full team fighting this time. A more straightforward comp, easier to execute. And I'm interested to see if this is the turning point in the series.
I mean, it could be, and it has to be, pretty much, for Aries if they want to move on to the semifinals. I believe the winner of this will face TGU, which have finished second, but are still looking very dominant, and that will be on Wednesday. So, yeah, I mean, right now let's focus on this, but it will be pretty hard for Aries if they make it through. So we'll see. Poppy as well, the last ban from Aries. They removed quite a few champions, but now Vladimir. I am really afraid what it will do in the hands of Fox.
Yeah, I mean, Fox could definitely use this Vladimir to a real flex pick right here because it's a safe pick in so many ways and yet also have a lot of weaknesses. Right now they pick a lot of scaling on the side of Fox and it can get punished if you're not careful here, and they do pick the Pike to just that.
Alright, hold on. Is that a Pike top lane or is it going to be a Nautilus top lane?
I actually think it's gonna be a Pike in the soul lane or a Nautilus in the mid lane. I don't think you're gonna see the Nautilus top lane right here.
Alright. I'm still waiting to see what is the last pick so that all our doubts can be cleared, and Aries themselves waiting until the last second. So it is a Maokai.
Yeah.
Alright, I think Nautilus mid seems plausible in this scenario.
Yeah, we probably should expect Nautilus mid right now, if you ask me. But then again, Pike is a kind of roam, and they do want to play about this Jinx, so they could be sending Pike mid to do the roaming bot. But what I'm afraid of here is the lack of damage on the side of Aries right here.
I think I do have to echo your concern because, alright, this is a placeholder. We are getting informed. Tryndamere is Cyan. So it is a Cyan, it is not a Tryndamere, which means that the draft will have to be remade. And now we get a lot of time to talk about the team composition. So let's talk about your first concern, lack of damage on Aries. How are they really going to try to counteract that? Are they looking to play maybe through the early game, or what are they looking to do?
They really need to snowball the Jinx, because if Jinx doesn't get ahead, they're gonna run out of options to win the game really quick, because right now they have Jinx to lay down the damage and then Pyke to execute for it. But the thing is, if they're not getting roamed on, if they can set a good lead in bot lane, they have a real win condition. But if they're not getting ahead in the bot lane with the push and the Pyke roaming, it's gonna be a hard game right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And though, let's look at Fox, because they are the guys that can finish this whole series, that can book their tickets to the semi-finals just after this game. What does their comp really look like? Because if I look at it, I think standard team fighting / early game action. You've got the Vladimir, Cyan, Jarvan for the team fights. You've got the Vayne, which isn't necessarily a purely team fighting indicator, but it will be good enough to try and chunk the front line. So is that what Fox are trying to do, or is there something deeper than this?
Yeah, but there's definitely something deeper, because they do have a strong team fighting comp here, and that's an option to win the game. But also, they can't be pushing Vladimir out to the side lane and do the 4-1 split pushing, because they have no answer for this Vladimir in the side lane when he gets 2 and 3 items. So they do have 2 horses to bang on right here, and I actually like Fox's draft a lot. And not to say that Aries is out of the game yet, but they really need to show this Pyke pig can work and roam down and get Jinx ahead.
Okay, and once again it ties into the story of Nigel trying to be the carry for Aries. Sometimes he's able to do it, sometimes he is not. And on the well, yeah, he tried, he got a nice solo kill onto the Lucidity Xerath. Now he's playing a champion that absolutely must get ahead. You are playing a Pyke. If you're behind, I'm sorry, you're not doing anything. You're just going to be absolutely useless and just watch yourself lose silently. And so, a lot of pressure on this guy. Let me just remind, he's playing into a Vladimir. So most likely looking for those roams, I would say, unless he can somehow get Warlord Reaper to gank him in this mid, and this is how Aries need to approach this game.
Yeah, but there's a lot here to like, what we should be looking at is a lot of engage on both sides. This is gonna be a spicy one. They have so much, both teams, to start a fight. And what I'm most concerned about here is obviously the Jinx we talked about, but also the fact the enemy on Fox right here has the Jarvan. It's the perfect tool to shut down a Jinx. And it's gonna be interesting if they can peel enough for Jarvan to like stop his fracking drive onto the Jinx. And it's gonna be so interesting. But also, can Pyke get ahead enough to pull roams down to the bot lane? Because if not, it's gonna be so hard this game.
And I think what we are looking is definitely the vision, because if you cast your mind back to the last game, Aries had some wards in the early game, then they kinda didn't, then they tried to reclaim it again, but by that time Fox were sufficiently ahead. Now I mean, talk me maybe later through how Sejuani Jarvan in the jungle works, but you definitely don't have the same sort of pressure that you would have as an Elise. And so Aries will need to definitely put more resources to try and secure the wards they have to enable Nigel, to find the roams in the bot lane, to try and get Hawkeye to the point where he can carry the game. And I think that is pretty much the most likely scenario in which Aries are going to take us to Game 3.
Yeah, I mean, what it is, Jarvan obviously have a lot of potential for ganks early game, but what you have on the map right now is a slippery Pyke who can get out of almost any gang. You have a Maokai, not the perfect target for a gank, because even if you get Sign ahead, it doesn't do much. So where we are going to see the action is bot lane, and it's all about can Fresh throw in the lantern to get Jarvan close enough to the Jinx, because Nautilus can always just stop his flag and drag, and he's not getting anybody near that Jinx. But it's all about can Sejuani do the counter gank, and last game he couldn't find anyone for that gank.
And I think what we also need to watch as we go later in the game is, of course, we are expecting Hawkeye to be one of the major carries for Aries once we hit maybe the later stages of the game. there is so much threat on Fox to try and dive him. Not only you've got the Jarvan definitely the huge person to be up against in the laning phase. He's going to try and gank you, he's going to try and kill you, and he also has Dennis's Thresh to help him do just that. But late game, think about it, you've got a Sion and Vladimir. Spray and Lucidity will be trying to obliterate you whilst you are sitting on that backline, and whereas you've got 3 tanks to your disposition. From what we've seen from Fox last time, they will probably be able to pull off those dives, and Aries, they really need to try and pull themselves in together. I'm going to repeat it at least 5 more times before we even get into this game, but it is do or die for them. They need to win this one if they want to stay in those playoffs, and if not, then this is where their season will end.
Yeah, but also one interesting thing is for both teams actually is the lack of secure wave clear. Because yes, Vladimir can do clear wave, but you need to charge up your E and you need to stand there for a while to actually clear the wave, and Jinx needs to get in range to do it. So the lack of wave clear also means if you fall behind, it's gonna be so hard to scale to late game because they're just gonna push the waves in, and both teams have so much tankiness that diving is not gonna be any problem at all. But it's gonna be so spicy, and who wins here may be able to win the game totally in this next game, because the momentum is everything.
Yeah. Alright, we're getting some info. Alright. Alright, so there is some information due to some sort of occurrence happening right now in the Discord. The game will be paused once we get into it, but there is still plenty of time, so we will just keep talking, and if anything of importance to the viewers comes up, then we will relay that over. And you talk about the spiciness, I do have to agree. You've got also so much playmaking. You talk about the engage, I look at the playmaking as well. You've got 3 hook champions in one game. That nearly never happens. Spike, Nautilus, and Thresh. On top of that, the Jarvan, arguably a pretty good playmaker. Sejuani, you know, you can make the plays with the ultimate. It isn't necessarily known for that, but you definitely can do just that. And then the Sion from downtown. Every one of those players will also be trying to show themselves off. If you can be the guy that gains the game-winning engage, especially in a playoff match, and that is a major feels good man moment.
Yeah, the engage is gonna be so key, but it's also about not laying it, because right now what we are in danger of is a matching Sejuani and also ulti on the same target at the same time. You're just gonna waste a lot of CT, and this is all about buying time to Jinx to do damage. So it's all about coordination and team communication, about when to do the CC, how to use it, and then put it all together to buy time for the Jinx. And it's gonna be rough. It's not easy to do all this in one time, in a split of the moment.
Yeah, and Hawkeye needs to be the guy that does all the damage in the late game team fights. Nigel needs to be the guy that gets through the early game, tries to find some leads, and if Fox get themselves ahead, I feel like in any lane, maybe not top lane, but any other lane, if they find the lead, then it could as well be the game over. We will be slowly loading in. Of course, the game was asked to be paused due to some sort of external issue, so we will not be seeing some action anytime soon. But we can talk about the runes. Nigel, he does go for the electrocute on Pike, so he will definitely be one to going in for the aggression, the assassination, the burst damage.
Yeah, it's also kind of weird to see the Jarvan going for the execute, kind of, because there's 3 tanks, so right here, and he's probably also gonna build tanky, so we will probably have seen Conqueror would have been a lot stronger against 3 tanks, but also it means probably that he wanna take charge of the jungle. He wanna go in, invade, and take pressure away from this Vladimir, because one thing is certain, Vladimir can get abused early if you're not careful, with a Pike and Sejuani, so yeah, it's really important right here to look at the Jarvan, because his rune says, I want to go all in from the start right here. But also, in the bot lane, Jinx did go with Lethal Temple, so again, a lot of damage. It's gonna be really spicy, this one, I'm gonna say. And 3 aftershocks on the side of ours right here.
Hell yeah, the rune did get nerfed, but it is still going to be really impactful, especially when you do stack those resistances. And we did see Jinx, I believe, played by Excel yesterday, and it was Hjarnan playing the champion with the lethal tempo. Once you get to a certain point in the game, if the game goes to, let's say, 30-35 minutes, it all becomes about keeping that guy alive, because he will win you the fights. It doesn't matter that you will have a hyper tanky Sion on the other team. Hawkeye will still be able to deal with him as long as there is no Vladimir or Jarvan trying to kill him in this back line. And so I's definitely also on that guy. Whereas for Fox, I feel like we are really looking at anyone to make the plays, but definitely for Crazy to be the initiator of them.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna be the main engage here, because Sion is kind of iffy if you engage with him. But like, Crazy's gonna look for the main engage, and then you have everything just getting thrown into the pot with the Vladimir. But it's also really hard, because like Vladimir, if you get a CC on him, he can get blown up before he can even use his hourglass. It's kinda insane how much CC they have on the side of Aries right here.
Yeah, let's actually just sum all the CC that could potentially be thrown over to Lucidity. Twisted advance from Maokai. You get the micro knock-up from his Q, and you also get the root with his ultimate. Then you've got the Sejuani, the micro knock-up with the charge, you've got the stun on the passive, you've got the stun on the ultimate, you've got the displacement on Nigel's bone skewer, and the stun on the Phantom Undertow, and then on top of all that, you get a Nautilus. The champion that is known for being obnoxious in terms of all the hard CC he provides. Getting one target, if you are Aries, out of position, provided that Fox do not find a lead like they did last time, something that is so big that Aries cannot do anything, will probably win them the entire fight. If it's late enough, it will win them the game. And yeah, we'll see if they can execute it, as we are still waiting on the pulse, we're still waiting on the situation itself to be resolved, and we will inform you once we know anything.
But it's also really important to pay attention to how easy the draft from Aries is to execute this time. Last time I picked a hard draft to execute. This time it's just we throw everything at you and we hope it's enough. And it's in this some sense easy to execute, but it's because there's less mistakes can happen. Where on Fox, Vladimir needs to play his A game, to use his W right to dodge abilities. He maybe have to buy QSS and Hourglass. And the same on Wayne, he definitely need QSS at some point. He should probably consider taking Cleanse in this matchup, and he didn't. So he definitely need a QSS to even stay alive.
Alright. We are still waiting. It is starting to become a bit of a waiting game, the pause in the playoffs. Alright, now we will be going. Thanks, production. But yeah. What do I want to say? God damn it. I didn't forget what I wanted to say.
I could pick you up on that. Because like we could talk about the vision we were onto. Because last time it looked like people were just picking, like placing pink boards where they felt like, and all about in the same spots in like mid, bot lane. This time they need vision all over the map, because action can happen everywhere. Because of the amount of crowd control we already talked about. It's like everything can happen everywhere. So vision is gonna be key to getting ahead in this game, because Pyke is known for being quick. You rushing mobile boots, you get around the map, he can be there in a split second. So vision is gonna be key on this bot side.
Alright, not only really on this bot side, because I'm even... Okay, top side doesn't really become that relevant until at least the Herald spawns, but it is vision anywhere. Top lane it is a tank versus tank, but it can still be ganked. You can still try and get some towers and try to get your top lane freed up. So wards really anywhere being placed, with the focus being in the bot lane. Now, you've got Jinx and Vayne. Both AD carries that want to scale. They don't usually offer that much in terms of the laning phase. Of course, Vayne with Crazy Attack can be aggressive, and you've got Thresh and Nautilus. Which of those bot lanes will have the priority? Who should we be expecting to be the first ones to place those wards and to have the control over the bot side river?
That's definitely have to be SRG right here, because Hawkeye have his Q, he can unlock, he do AoE damage, you can blast out the minions, and you also have the Nautilus E. So definitely the pushing power is gonna be on SRG, but last time they did have that as well, and they didn't use it. So I'm excited to see Hawkeye this time are confident in his ability to win this lane and push his team to the victory because it's all on him. So laning is gonna tell us a lot if Hawk is confident in the positioning he's getting placed right here, because if he's afraid of pushing out, it's gonna be rough, this laning.
Yeah, I do agree. It is going to be, but yeah. You see, I'm really actually struggling with coming up.
Okay,
Can you help
fine.
me out?
I can keep talking.
Yes,
right
you
here,
can keep
because
talking.
What we should be looking for right here is all the action is gonna be on the bot side, because this is where all the fun are. And Jarvan can really do it well. He's red star, so it is a little harder to do really good ganks because you need to kind of walk into them. Where if you're on the blue side here, you come down the river, you're almost behind them. Junglers don't always agree on this, which side is the best to gank. But in this scenario, I think Sejuani can go on the behind the red tower and come behind them, and it's gonna be so dangerous. But it's all about Crazy and Wallet to make this play spot lane. But if you ever get hooked by the Nautilus and Fresh don't actually counter with the Flay, it's gonna be set up hard, because if Nautilus get the pass on you, you get the Jinx E on you, you're gonna stay there forever and you are dead right here. So everything is gonna be put out bot, but it's also interesting because what it is really important about the bot side here is Dragon. And Dragon right here in both team comps can mean the victory, because what it builds up to, no matter what dragon is coming, is the Elder Dragon, and that can really change because both teams have a lot of power in the late game, so that can be the decider factor. So I hope to see both junglers put a lot of pressure on getting this early dragon and swap the bot lane top side to get the Rift Hill so they can get extra gold into their carries.
I mean, you're talking about the late game. However, you know, from what game 1 looked like, I think we could be also seeing a lot of action in the early game, and potentially one of the teams, I'm mostly expecting Fox to snowball it and close it out like they did last time. And I'm looking at that mid lane jungle duo again. Why? Because it is a Jarvan and a Vladimir. Once you hit level 6, Pyke is a slippery champion. Yes, you have the escapes, but if you catch Nigel going in and then you gang him, you're going to kill him so easy. You cannot stack any HP on a Pyke, and that is a potential target. And potential easy even target if you are Fox, especially that we did see Nigel get ganked multiple times last game.
But it's kind of iffy, because the thing is, Nigel may even not be in lane, because the Pyke thing right here, just run a roam bot lane and get these things ahead. So as soon as Nigel got his goal, he's just gonna push out the mid lane and start roaming, or at least go back. So mid lane is gonna be hard to gank, and also for every gank you do mid lane this game, Warlock could be bot lane and setting up Jinx for the easy win. So it's all about where are the jungler going, and we're probably also gonna see both jungler going topside early, because they did that last game. It didn't work for any of them, but they did walk topside in the start.
No, they did not. Also, a micro mechanic that could be useful if you are Aries is, of course, the Pyke ultimate gold share mechanic. And the thing with that is, if we see ever Nigel making roams down to the bot lane, if they get kills, then you pretty much get double the gold. Aries with one play can get the gold worth for double of what they are doing, and this is why making so many of them becomes so important in this early game, because for any kill you get rewarded twice the price. And then you get gold not only on your mid laner, you get gold on your AD carry. In the ideal scenario, probably the supports and junglers will end up picking at least a bit of that if we do see the 4 to 5 man dives in the bowling from Aries. But that is something to keep in mind, as we will hopefully see Nigel leaving his lane, because let's be honest, Pyke versus Vladimir 1v1 in the mid lane, probably not the best for Pyke.
No, but then again, you don't really expect Pyke to be winning your lane. It's kind of like you just want to be there, take the farm, and then roam around the map. But it's really important here also, because every time he roam, there's a danger of losing tower platings, and tower platings can feed Vladimir a lot of gold. So if the ganks doesn't work, this Vladimir could be snowballing out of hand. But then again, the same could happen bot, so we are in for a treat right here.
Yeah, we are hitting 10 minutes on the pause. Sorry for the delays, everyone. There's an official admin decision being made about something. I'm not sure when we are exactly going to disclose what is happening, but we would assume that the whole thing is going to get solved in about 5 minutes. Okay, we are going to default. Are you going to be heard on the stream caller or? Okay, so we're going to repeat what you're saying. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hold on.
Are we doing new drafts as well for Game 3?
Alright.
Okay.
Okay, so what if I understand it correctly, correct me at any point if I am saying it wrong. There is a rule that states all players must be in the Discord at all times during the playing, and Fox currently have only 3 of their players in their Discord. Not sure if that was the case for Game 1 or if only someone realized just now. And they will get now, correct me if I'm wrong, they'll get 20 minutes to get their remaining 3 people into the game. Otherwise they FF Game 2 or... Okay, that's very interesting. So the Fox already have been penalized by forcing to FF the second game, and now they have time to get people into the Game 3. This is... Okay, this is very interesting. I don't know what to say about this.
No, it's definitely gonna swap things around because now everyone knows what were in the basket. So right now, the draft for Game 3, if they're gonna be a Game 3, is gonna be changed up completely because now they saw the aces that Aries is holding. So are there anything they're afraid of? And they're gonna ban it away. Also, really important, they're gonna swap side again. So Aries is gonna be back on red side here, so they're not gonna get this Nautilus right here in the next game.
No, they are not. However, I think how we can think about the situation, right, is of course assuming that Fox do get all their players in the Discord room. Just some clarification if anyone's confused about the rule. The purpose for that is so that we can ensure that there is no account sharing happening, or at least maybe not make sure, but at least mitigate it and have a pretty good idea if there is anything sketchy happening. So the way you can think about it now is that the next game that's gonna happen, it's gonna be the one to decide it all. Like Aries no longer need to go for the reverse sweep, they just need to win one game, so does Fox. So we are pretty much turning this entire thing into a best of 1, with of course all the experience that we had from the first game.
Yeah, but also it leaves Fox in a limbo because right now they have a buffer game, so they could leave the Jinx open and see can we deal with it. And if they couldn't, they still have a Game 3 to deal with it with a ban. But right now they don't know. Are we afraid of the Pike? Are we afraid of the Jinx? They don't know because they didn't get to actually play it. So the next game is gonna be the ban phase is gonna be so insane.
Alright, I'm seeing what happened. So let me repeat it once again. The rules of the Springsplit clearly state that the team must be present as a whole 5 in their dedicated Discord voice chat during the game time. This is to ensure that there is no account sharing, or at least if it is happening, then there are much better ways and much more reliable ways to spot it before it happens. Now, Fox doesn't have their all members. I'm not sure if that only happened for this game or whether people only realized it this game, and it was also the case for the Game 1. That I do not know. But the decision by admins has been made that they do have to forfeit the second game, which to me implies that they were also absent in the first game, and they have now 16 or 15 more minutes, something between that, to get all the remaining players into Discord, or they will have to FF the entire series, therefore sending Aries to the semi-finals, which is harsh, but I mean rules are rules, and you know, you don't get to choose them when you are playing in a tournament.
No.
Okay, they were also absent in the first game. This is why the decision was made. Now it's official. It's not just me theorizing.
Yeah, and it's kind of unlucky for Fox because they were on a momentum right now, and this can actually mentally break them. So we're gonna have to see what's gonna happen here.
Especially if you take what Fox are saying, or at least Dennis is saying, that the 2 players are missing due to the fact that they have to play outside of their normal place and cannot get in the Discord. I mean, if that's the case, then kudos to them, because they didn't have full team communication in Game 1. Of course, I mean, I'm not going to justify the decisions made by either the teams or the admins, or even try to think about them. But yeah, that's how things are, and now we are just in this waiting game, thinking about what on earth is going to happen, and are they even gonna get those people in?
Yeah, it's kind of like, even when we look at professional play, there have just been a ruling where a team used ringers to like win them a series, and it's a big offense because it's unfair for the enemy team. But if they can't get them on, I mean, it's kind of unlucky because Rocks right now was in the driving seat.
Yeah, and even if the story that folks are providing is true, then that's just the story of competitive League of Legends.
Yeah.
You cannot take the ifs, and now we are just stuck in this waiting game. What's really sad is that we can't really even talk about the draft we have for this game, since it will be remade. But if it will be remade, I think it's interesting to think what parts of what we were seeing in this game will stay and what will go. Because I would assume that maybe Jinx... okay, actually, I don't know. Let's talk about Jinx. Will it be let through for Hawkeye, or will it be banned away from him?
I think they're gonna leave it open again, because I don't think that they think Hawkeye is the main carry on the team, so they're willing to let it through. But then again, they're back on the blue side, so maybe they're afraid of the Jinx last pick. So, I mean, everything can happen. We actually don't know, because everything is in the air. Because maybe they think Pyke is a problem. Do we need to ban it out? There's so many things in the air, and we can't really know which one they're gonna happen.
Right now, I don't think it makes much sense for us, though, to just be here and talk about anything random that we can think about. So we'll go over to the short pause, and we will inform you about what is happening as soon as we know. So we will hopefully see you soon.
The night beckons while you dream. A life never lives in peace. As you stand upon the edge, woven by a single thread, I'm a goddess with a blaze 소리처럼 내 이름 잊지 못하게 loud 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 I could take you to the top 절대 멈추지 못해 내가 끝내주는 bad girl 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 when I started talk that oh you know how to react I'm a picture perfect face with that wild in my veins you can hear it in my growl 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 so keep your eyes on me now 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야 닿을 수 없는 level 나와 되길 원한 늘 확신해 We got it all in our hands now So can you handle what we're all about We're so tough, let's get it, show you out Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down They could try but we gonna wear the crown You can go another round, 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 round Wish you luck but you're not bringing us down
Alright guys, we are back with some news, and it isn't really that great news. Folks themselves have confirmed that they are unable to get all their players in the Discord, and as a result will have to forfeit the rest of the series, which means that Aries, they will be moving forward. That will say definitely a not the best game to start our playoffs with, but it will be over to Aries, since folks have been unable to meet the standard. However guys, still join us, I believe. Alright, let me actually check that because I wasn't prepared to say this so soon. Yeah, we are streaming tomorrow. I'm just trying to think what match is it and when. Alright, we are going to be streaming Kaylee versus Capricorn on the main stream. Maybe there will be a are we going to have a second stream as well for the second quarter? Okay, we are going to also have a second stream for the second quarter final for Division 4. So do join us tomorrow, join the Discord if you didn't already to get the notifications, and that's going to be it from me and Starchos. And on that note, we're going to wish you a good night.